Good afternoon, Los Angeles. Good afternoon, bike riders. Good afternoon, people. Thank you for having me here today.
Thanks for joining us.
I really appreciate it. As a kid, I mean, it's good to see all these people out here riding bikes today and being festive and whatnot. Are my kids coming up? My family?
So, Team Delgado's here today.
Yes, we are.
Why don't you introduce the family to us?
Okay, this is my beautiful wife, Gina.
Hi, Gina. How are you?
This is Paul William.
Hey, Paul.
And this is Joseph here.
Hey, Joseph. How are you?
Yes. You know, I always tell my kids stories about growing up in San Pedro, how, I mean, I rode my bike everywhere. I would ride my bike as a kid all throughout town and all throughout San Pedro. And I think this is great, really, out here having all these families and kids out here riding their bikes and just really having a great family time.
Excellent.
That's awesome.
So you have a very beautiful family here.
Yes. And I'm missing two more.
Oh, you got, what's that?
I'm missing two more.
Oh, there's more?
Yes.
So you've got a beautiful family, you live in a wonderful neighborhood, and you've spoken of how much fun you have riding the bike and enjoying the neighborhood. What would prompt you to run for city council?
What would prompt me? Because I believe that our city needs leadership and it needs accountability. And I believe bringing that accountability to the people, where I have an open door policy, where if they want to ask me questions, if any bicycle people want to ask me questions, or if they have any questions, my door is always open to hear them.
Excellent. So today we have a lot of folks from neighborhood councils represented. Jose Segala's here from the Greater Echo Park Neighborhood Council.
Jose?
Kevin's here from Reseda, Kevin Taylor.
All right.
Glenn Bailey's here from Encino.
All right.
Alex Thompson's here from Mar Vista.
All right.
Mar Vista!
Mar Vista's in the house.
What neighborhood council do you represent?
Actually, I served on the land use for Central Neighborhood Council. I was also a board member, and I was also the president of the Central Neighborhood Council.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah, so I gained the respect in the people, in the community, of my colleagues, and they elected me as their president.
Excellent.
So I served for 3 years.
So then, you're a strong proponent of the public being involved in establishing policy, speaking up.
Yes, absolutely.
Because in a city this big, it's hard to have a citywide policy that's sensitive to the needs of a local neighborhood.
Yes, it is, and I believe that's why the neighborhood councils are a great form. I believe the neighborhood councils should be used in order to get those policies brought not only to the local people, but to the community as a whole, and really preach that and get that out to the communities.
Excellent. So you said you have 4 kids?
Yes.
And the age range is?
22 all the way down to 11.
11!
Yes. 2 of my kids actually have already graduated from college.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Well, what can we do to make it safer for kids to ride their bikes and walk to school?
I believe actually events like these bring public bike riding out to the light. I believe they should have more of the rail guards for the kids to ride bikes. I believe, you know, even on the campus before school starts, the kids should have an opportunity to get some exercise and actually ride their bike, you know, on the elementary and ride it around and really get some exercise in before they go into the classroom, instead of just standing around and getting in trouble.
Excellent.
So I think the kids should engage in riding their bikes around, getting some exercise, and being fit.
You know, you can see what CicLAvia has done to this street, and it's like this for 10 miles. Would you be willing to commit to bringing CicLAvia to Council District 15?
Absolutely, yes, of course. Where are we at, CicLAvia? We could go down there by Paseo Del Mar, Harbor Boulevard, Portugal, and all throughout San Pedro. And also down through Wilmington, up through Machado Lake and Harbor City, and then we can end at Watts Towers in the city of Watts.
That sounds like a good ride!
I mean, that's long. Who would be interested in doing that here? Anybody?
Does Taco Tuesday go to the harbor?
Taco Tuesday as well. Yeah, we could do it.
You know,
great.
I've taken the blue line all the way to the end, but then you have to cross over to get to San Pedro.
Yes.
What can we do to make it easier for people to be able to explore the area without having to risk life and limb on Anaheim with all those nuts and bolts in the street?
No, that's true. Well, I've been looking at that actually, and I believe having the red car, which we have in San Pedro, which only goes so far, and extending it out to the blue line will help. But I would actually like to see the red car go all the way up into Watts and bring them down.
That's the cable car?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. But there's one thing you got to remember in San Pedro, that there's a lot of hills and a lot of slopes. So I mean, it's not like here you're just riding on flat land. In San Pedro, you have to be ready to climb some hills.
So we could certainly do something on the waterfront, though.
Yes, absolutely. With the waterfront development, with the USS Iowa coming down, I believe we can start even from here and ride all the way down and see the USS Iowa, which will be birthed in San Pedro.
So we have been working on things we think are important.
Okay.
One of them is the freedom to travel safely and free of fear.
Great, that's good.
Who can be opposed to safety? We also are big proponents of education. Over there is Sustainable Streets, and they do bike education for cyclists, for motorists, for policymakers, and for the people that build our streets. Farther over, you've got BikeRowWave, and they actually help people build their bikes. So they'll teach you how to build a bike. In fact, they build bikes out of, their mission is to get people on a bike. It's a co-op. So in other words, you pay what you have. If you don't have any, you still get a bike. But the idea is to get bikes that work.
Yeah, that's right. I believe it's also important that the kids also have their helmets on. Hey, how you doing?
All right.
And you know, actually, our school, where my kids go to, they actually had a bike-a-thon. And the kids rode their bike as a fundraiser. And they just rode and rode, and they count how many times they ran around. But they got a lot of exercise out of it, and they also taught the importance of raising funds and raising money to go out to other countries. And it was a great event that the school had.
Excellent.
And that was on bikes.
You spoke of raising money.
Yes.
And there's a special election coming up in 1 month.
Yes, sir.
And there's probably 3 or 4 things folks could do to speak up.
Yes.
So regardless of what the issues are, if people have an interest in speaking up in the Council District 15 campaign, they can vote.
Yes.
They can contribute money.
Correct.
They can do both.
Yes.
What's the 4th one? They can walk, talk, phone bank. They can come help you.
Actually, that's the way I've chosen to do my campaign. I'm not out. I don't believe in running and raising thousands of dollars, $100,000 of dollars. Our cities and our residents are taxed enough. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way by going street by street and walking. Now that I see these bikes, I might just get a bike and do it bike by bike.
There you go.
And bike through the neighborhood. One of my slogans that I have and that I'm using is good for the good of the hood. And I believe that just getting out and doing some old school. I'm an old school guy, so I like to do old-fashioned way, going door by door and really just talking to the residents.
That's awesome.
So that's my plan.
All right, Taco Tuesday. Did you hear
Hello,
that?
bikers. How you guys doing, LA? How's everybody? All right.
So if you'd like to walk with a candidate, ride with a candidate.
Yes.
Phone bank for the candidate.
I'm not doing no phone banks.
You're not?
No, sir.
All right. So don't answer the phone.
I mean, I get tired of all the phone calls myself, so.
No, you make a good point that the streets come alive when people are talking face to face, whether you're walking,
that's right,
riding a bike, or hanging out.
Yeah, that's right. And I believe, you know, what the voters want to hear and what they need is accountability, and they need to be able to talk to a real person about real issues. I believe, you know, I can sleep comfortable at night knowing that I've done my best to go out there and speak to the people one-on-one and not be having to worry about these special interest groups or anybody else like that saying do this or do that, where I'm just led by what I want to do, what I believe is right.
Excellent. So our paths have crossed. I was at Hope Chapel in Hermosa when you were at Hope Chapel, I think, in Torrance.
San Pedro.
San Pedro.
Right.
So tell us a little bit about your background, and then we're going to close it up with what the campaign means.
Sure, no problem. I started, we started a ministry out at Hope Chapel for the youth. And at that time, we had youth just coming in. It was called Plugged In. And from there, that really lit a fire within me to go out and really to outreach to other kids. And I mean, the kids would actually come in on their bikes as well. They would hear the music and they would stop and they would come in and we would engage with them. From there, I worked on advisory boards for the park. And then from there, I joined the neighborhood council where I was served as the president. I started a nonprofit where we actually help youth and kids to play sports.
All right.
And that was a great experience that I had. You know, out there raising money. I worked with Janice Hahn's office, and we raised she was able to give over $200,000 and for capital improvements and for parks. So now they're actually working on a skate park right now up at Peg Park.
Excellent.
So that's a great thing. And I just love being involved in the community. I love working in the community, and I believe my leadership in going out there and working with groups who haven't historically worked well on the path with one another, I can bring those to the table, and we can really get some work done here in Los Angeles.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for bringing your lovely family.
Yes.
Before you go,
all right,
we have something we've called the Cyclist Bill of Rights.
All right.
And these are things that we kind of think are kind of important. The right to travel safely and free of fear.
Yes.
Equal access, full support of the law enforcement, the judicial system, streets that work.
Yes.
And these are legal standards. These are already federal, state, and city standards and policies.
These are already laws that are not enforced.
Policies, and codes. But the thing is, things that we don't claim get ignored. Things that we don't remind people of, they aren't considered important. So we're asking you to join us in endorsing the Cyclist Bill of Rights. It's been to City Council. It's been around the world, in fact. It's been in the Wall Street Journal. In Florida, there's an initiative to make this a state law. But here we are in the city of Los Angeles.
Here we are.
And so some other candidates for...
oh, yeah, I see my good friend Gordon here.
Yes, Gordon.
Gordon and I, we've done a lot of work together.
Excellent.
He's a good guy.
Yeah.
I like Gordon.
So there's a lot of great folks running for city council. It's important that people get involved, and it's important that we ask you what you stand for and to ask you to support us, and that's what we're doing today.
Absolutely. I believe that the bicyclists should actually have share of the road as well. It's very safe. I mean, when I was growing up, I could ride the bike and not have to worry because, you got streetwise. But my kids here, when they're out and about riding their bikes, they got to be a little bit more careful because the cars are bigger, they're faster. So I believe enforcing these laws will actually help our youth because it has to keep going with people riding bikes. Excellent. So I believe this is important that they know the safety, that they're educated when they take their DMV test, that this should be on there as well for bicyclists.
Well, I appreciate it. Here's a Sharpie if you wouldn't mind. Yeah. Where do I get that? You put it right here. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Delgado signing the Cyclist Bill of Rights. There you go. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for bringing your lovely family.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.